Good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. Welcome to the Tabletop Shenanigans podcast. Today I have with me my amazing co-host. He puts fear in his men's hearts. It's Commissar Matthew.
Hey there, everybody.
Still can't make up his mind as to which toaster is the sexiest. It's Nick.
Actually, the Star DT14 commercial toaster oven. That's what I think is the best one.
Ooh. And don't let him know that there were some fallen angels spotted nearby. It's your boy, Phil.
Hey, people.
So, and as always, it's your host, Felipe. So not a lot to talk about this week. No new releases, no new rumors, or really anything interesting in general. So we're going to talk about my favorite faction for the next hour. That's right. This will be an all Eldar podcast. All Eldar, all day.
Awesome. Let me tell you about my favorite Eldar units.
All right, well, I'll talk to all of you next week. It was good knowing you.
Nah, I mean, I think really the main way make Inari work is with an incubi bomb.
Oh God!
Yeah.
Oh God!
Yeah, just one CP to
Okay,
one
the
CP
only way.
to soul burst. That's
Before I shoot myself, that's obviously lies and heresies. It's 9, baby. Praise the Emperor. We're getting new rules, models, and a new addition to our favorite game.
It's actually
So-
10 o'clock.
Shut up, Nick. Per the usual, he just has to ruin it somehow. So, on today's episode, we're going to be talking a little bit about what we know, what we don't know, what we want, what we don't want, kind of thing. So let's start out with what we actually do know. What do we know? Kick it off, guys.
start collecting tanks and monsters. That's what we know. That's what I know. I need one of Matt's 30 Lehman Russes. Actually, he's been really stingy about them.
Whoa. I ain't giving up a single Lehman
Yeah,
Russ.
he needs them.
Or a Rhino chassis, not a one. Nobody guessed how many Rhino chassis. So sad.
It's 38. Just by the way. If
It's
anyone
not,
ever need-
but I kind of like the idea that we'll keep this ongoing for like forever. We'll be on like episode 342, and Matt will still be like, or we'll actually have like 50 subscribers by that point, and Matt will still be like, and we're still holding this contest, kind of thing.
That's
Somebody
a
will
joke.
guess it one day, and then I'm going to send them a start collecting box.
Wow.
Can we guess? Even though you've already told
No.
us how many?
No.
37.
Good guess. Cheater.
So back to the topic at hand. So yeah, tanks can shoot out of melee. So can monsters. Everybody's gonna have set command points. Everybody or battalions and detachments are really gonna be going by the wayside. And they keep talking about how you can build your army your own specific ways. Modifiers are gonna be capped out to just negative or +1. What else am I missing, guys?
Wait, is it to a +1 too? I'm pretty sure you can only have a -1 to hit max. Because there's some stratagems that specifically say +2 to hit.
I didn't.
Yeah, I hope they just go ahead and remove all that AdMech shenanigans and make Nick cry a little bit inside.
That'd be kind of sad. I would definitely cry.
You've
But-
been broken too long, buddy. Too long.
Broken?
Uh-oh.
Who's screaming at the top
Hey,
there?
how about
Lon?
we stop
Who
talking?
is screaming at the-
Let's stop talking about AdMech and talk about 9th edition. I'd rather not sour the
Yeah,
waters
let's
with Nick complaining about his overpowered army not being good enough. Obviously,
Okay.
I'm
Let's
just
talk-
goading
let's
you.
talk-
Obviously, I'm goading you. Let's continue.
Well, let's talk about 9th edition, like my new AdMech. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, listen to these new AdMech
But-
flyers, $100 each. You should get 6 of them, everybody.
Oh yeah, buddy.
Get 6 of them. It'll be like Eldar
Oh, yeah.
flyers, but better.
This was not endorsed by GW. But GW, if you want to endorse us, just hit me up.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm really excited for that new rule that tanks don't have to can still shoot in combat. Obviously we don't know yet, but I'm assuming it'll be at a penalty of -1 to hit, because that just makes sense. But I guess we don't really know.
Or it could be a limitation on
We
what they
have
can
zero
shoot.
clue.
Because that could also be another thing they do. Like maybe they can shoot out of combat, but only at like the closest thing that they're not in combat with, or something to that effect. That'd be another way of limiting it.
That would make sense, yeah.
So, they can still have impact on the game, but you won't quite be able to do, a lot of shenanigans with it, like ignore the 50 dudes hitting your tank and just keep shooting at the, Lord Discordant or whatever across the board.
You know what? I'd actually be okay with that. That wouldn't bother me at all.
It'd definitely be skill testing on both sides to try to order your shots in a way to get the most value out of what you have. And, setting your things up properly for the melee army.
See, I think it will make a huge impact on the game, but in a different way than you're thinking. Because vehicles being able to shoot in combat isn't necessarily going to, be like this huge game-changing thing. Like things like the what's it called? Baneblade can already do that, and I mean it's not like the biggest game-changing thing in the world. But what you probably won't see is you probably won't see like just a squad of cultists going to bubble wrap a tank to lock it up, because all it's going to do is make it so that your opponent can't shoot you, but you can still shoot your opponent. So it'll definitely make people play more tactical in a sense that I'm not going to use, small units like guardsmen to wrap up vehicles or touch vehicles because it won't make an impact.
I'm going to run Terminators to kill them.
Yeah, you're gonna run something like smash captains and something that's still gonna go into a tank and still pop it, or heavily wound it to where it's of no effect on the table. So I don't think it's going to be that big of a change. It's just going to change some play styles that are kind of annoying, like guardsmen just touching a tank and taking it out of commission for a whole turn.
I think it'll definitely. I don't think it'll have like a big mechanical impact. I think more the implication is like the psychological aspect of it. A big reason why like a lot of people I've spoken to don't feel good about running tanks is just because they're like, man, like you said, it gets touched and then I can't use this 300, 200, 150, whatever point unit anymore. But when that aspect's like now gone and you don't feel as afraid that you won't get value out of its points. So I really think it might just change the way people build their list in general, because it was never really that big of a problem against a lot of armies, but just the potential for it to happen like really scared a lot of people away from what I saw or heard.
Yeah, I mean, when was the last time you guys saw somebody actually bring a Land Raider?
Well, people don't bring those.
Yeah. They don't bring them because they cost too many points and their shooting isn't worth the points that they cost.
Yeah, but I feel like, do we know, does it stop at tanks, or does it go all the way? Like, are we talking about knights still being able to shoot and other stuff, or because I don't know, we don't know exactly where the line is yet.
So far, it said tanks, and it said monsters.
So what about Tau?
I think
so. Like, yeah, a Tau Riptide is a monster.
I don't know how you could logically say like, yeah, Lehman Russ can shoot out of fighting with someone, but an Imperial Knight isn't capable of doing the same thing.
They're too scared, man.
It's never been an issue with Knights because Knights can fall back and shoot
of course,
anyway,
it's never been a problem. But what I'm saying is like,
and then charge you again.
Yeah, what I'm saying is fundamentally it would change nothing about Knights really, but
except for Armigers, the Helverins would get so much better because that's one way to really, stop a lot of firepower that the Knights have is just touching Armigers currently because they don't have that rule. They're not Titanic. They are vehicles, however. So it's possible that it could translate over to Armigers, which would be really neat.
And
it'd make Knights as a whole a much more playable army against something like a Horde army that could just run up and touch a bunch of them and stop them from shooting for a couple of turns.
And if we can get Armigers that rule, we can probably get that to Dreadnoughts. And now my double Gravflux Bombard Leviathan Dreadnought will be that much closer to not being a meme that lives in my dreams and a real thing that I could put on a table and have a good fun with.
Yeah, let's do it.
Double Gravflux Bombard.
What about
I say it's okay.
What about the idea that everybody's going to get the exact same amount of command points? That there's not going to be battalions and things like that, and it's all going to be based off of the size of the game? Because I'm guessing it's going to be like at 2,000 points, everybody gets 9 CP. At 1,000 points, everybody gets like 5 CP, and so on and so forth.
I think that's great.
I disagree. I think this is just me. I've only ever played with 8th edition, but I thought I really believe that the way you set up your detachments and trying to maximize the CP you can get, and recognizing when your army needs CP and when your army you don't have to waste your points on getting those troops because you don't really need the CP and stuff like that. I felt like that was definitely a good thing. And it put like another like meta aspect to the game outside of the game, where you could that's something that outside of just like the rules of your army that you could master and would like translate between everything. So it's kind of sad to hear that that's going, because like Nick plays AdMech. AdMech uses a lot more CP. Gene Stealer Cult uses a lot more CP than something like, I don't know. Let me think of like a really low CP army.
Custodies or Custodies or Tyranids.
Yeah. Well, Custodies don't use a lot of CP because functionally they can't get a lot of CP.
Yeah,
right.
They need a lot of CP. They have a lot of 3 CP stratagems that they can't use more than
once
or twice.
Once. Yeah.
Yeah, because like now, what's the point of having a battalion or something like that? Having a list that generates 21 command points, and now it just like I sacrifice a lot of utility to get there, but now there's no point. It kind of sucks.
I think
I don't like that rule.
It's kind of worrying to me. If there aren't things like detachments, it might end up just being that you're just like, because we don't know if there's going to be like still like specialist detachments, things like that, or anything of that nature. So it could end up being where you just literally just build a list just with points, which is good for simplifying the game and just making it on as a general rule like more playable. But
where does it stop though? Where do we stop?
We don't need a slippery slope fallacy when it comes to Warhammer 40K, or like the logical conclusion is AOS, where they get rid of strength and toughness, and like all weapons have their own profiles, right? Like that's the logical conclusion of this.
Exactly.
And I think you're on record as saying that AOS is not a terrible system that should be burned off the face of the earth.
It's not. Yeah. It's not. It's actually really fun. But my problem is these are two different monsters, right? Like Age of Sigmar shooting is just inherently not very great. But then again, I trust GW. They know what they're talking about. I'll hope for the best that they'll release stuff that we like. I mean, those new models, dang, are they not pretty though?
All praise James Workshop. My main problem though is that I look at it more from like a fun factor of it. I like having troops. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like every army should have the basic grunts at the front of the army. So I like that. Here's the thing
though, right? By getting rid of like making CP based lists, now the utility of troops stops being you get CP from them, but just in the troops themselves. So it might end up being that they just make troops better. And so what's good for troops no longer is what's the cheapest troop choice I can take so that I can get CP so that I can afford the elites and the heavy supports I want. It becomes, what are the best troops I can take to support the stuff I want to take? Because you're no longer trying to jury rig your list around getting as many CP as you can to be able to do the cool shenanigans that you want to do.
No, for sure.
I agree with that.
That's another side of it.
I was going to make a point. So in previous editions, like 7th edition and going forward, you did have a chart that you had to base your list on. It wasn't built like this where I could just bring all heavy supports if I brought 3 spearhead detachments. You had to bring like a minimum number of troops and a minimum number of HQs at certain point level games. So I bet that they'll go back to that. So you're still gonna you can't just be like, oh, there's no CP involved. I'm just going to bring
30
3
Lumen Russes.
sides, 3 ghost kills, and all the Lehman Russes. Yeah, or whatever. Yeah, a list of just Lehman Russ battle tanks and other artillery tanks.
Yeah.
You're still going to have a minimum number of troops, and it could even be like per army. So like Guard have to bring 6 squads of troops, and whereas Custodies probably only need to bring like 2 or 3. So it could be based on not only just like an overall flow chart, but something that even further balances the game to a point where it's per army. So like armies that are more horde based will end up having to bring more troops than they probably would have previously. Who knows? It's all speculation, right? Let's just take wild guesses and see if I'm right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to see.
I think that would actually probably really balance the game if, like, as like an Imperial Guard army, I had to bring a set number of troops, and same thing as like Tyranids. Like Tyranids have to bring so many Gaunts or
Hormagaunts, Termagants,
Tyranid warriors.
Gene
Yeah,
Sealer,
but then
Purebloods.
what I don't like about that then is now that you are forcing each army into a rigid play style where they have to have a bare minimum to even play them, and that kind of changes. Well, that kind of like ruins the fun. You don't think? Like,
well, that could be something that's set up in match play, though. I mean, that's a play style where you have to build around a certain way, whereas maybe in open play or Crusade you have a lot more flexibility with your army.
what I think they should do is they should bring back not attachments, but what are those things like? They have them in AOS, the battalion kind of set up
with those like
where you have to
special
bring
battle
this-
forces or whatever, where you get special rules for bringing certain things in conjunction.
Exactly. I think
That's what
they should bring those
at the end
back.
of 7th. At the end of 7th, they started adding those, like, where if you brought this, you get this buff. But
Exactly.
that lasted for like months, and then they said, all right, 8th edition new rules.
Yeah,
fix this.
didn't a lot of people say that it was a massive like power gamey thing? You just like tried to maximize those as much as you could to get some like really silly stuff.
Yeah, that's why Tau was so broken in 7th edition. Was one of the main things was those battalions and the bonuses that they got made them just so much more powerful. So that was kind of like a big thing that already happened. That I doubt that they'll go back to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That sucks. I thought it was a cool concept, and I think that would have been a nice way to play. Instead of giving you like powerful buffs, they give you different CP based on kind of like attachment, but not really. I don't know.
I doubt they would do
Just
that.
an idea that would
right?
be
Because
cool.
the whole point is you're supposed to have the same amount of CP. I doubt they'd make a way for you to just get more CP.
But it just like really sucks because what's the limit? Like 9 or whatever? Everyone gets 9 command points.
No, we have no idea. I mean, it could be like 15.
And it could be 25 for all we know. And they're just like stratagems that you do every single turn because, they're just that good or
But
whatever.
that's broken though. If the problem is if they make it too
I know,
high,
obviously
armies
it's,
like Custodians,
over the top, right? But the thing is, they're probably going to be completely changing up how stratagems work and how you do them. So really, will those armies even be that good?
Phase now.
Like, because if we're talking about this whole command phase thing, having to like preemptively do a lot of stratagems, having to preemptively put down the CP to do things. What if you have to like set aside an amount of CP for rerolls ahead of time? Like that'd be pretty wacky. You're just like, hey, I'm spending 3 CP this turn for rerolls, and I could do them in whatever phases I want, maybe, but I had to prepay them, and I might not even need them, or I'll just waste them because I don't know if I'll have a chance to use them again. Like that could be massive.
I guess,
like you might need 25 CP.
I guess we just have to wait. Yeah, I guess we just have to wait and see what GW says when we start 9th ed. By the way, when do you think that's going to happen? July?
Hopefully,
August?
something like that.
The rumor mill says pre-orders will start mid-July, release July 25th or something like that.
It does. It has always felt like GW. Most of their most of their updates and everything to the game definitely feels more targeted towards like the game actually feeling more fun and everything. They don't care that much about competitive. They don't care about things like that. They just care about the game being fun.
Which is fine.
And
I don't know. I feel like. Go ahead. Go ahead.
What I was gonna say is like that's why they're trying to get rid of things like for example making it things like -3 to shoot with this whole capping out at how many things or at how much how many modifiers you can put on a freaking plane. That's not fun, guys. I know that it's competitive and I know that it's competitive viable and I get it, but that's not fun to play against.
You think? But I think what they used to do was way more fun than what they're doing now. Because back then, I remember Orcs had a literal chart on what their guns did depending on what you rolled. That was cool. That's fun. But I feel like now it's really mainstreamed a little bit.
Streamlined.
Yeah, streamlined. I'm sorry.
That's fine. Well, functionally, right? A system that you understand is more fun than one that you don't, right? Like, if you looked at 7th edition rules, it's very intimidating to look at, right? They give you a picture of a Lehman Russ. They show you like the firing arcs and the sponsons, and it's silly. It's very silly. And I don't want to draw any flack for this because I didn't play it, so I wouldn't know how silly it really was. But
oh no, I never played it, and I've watched games of it, and I'm like, what is going on?
There was always a lot of argument for firing arcs and armor positioning because. If I shoot at the back of a Lehman Russ, like the front of a Lehman Russ is like armor 13, the sides might be armor 12.
And the back is like armor 8.
But the back of is like armor 11. Yeah, so you talk about and it's based on the strength of the weapon. So like you roll like on a strength 9 weapon, you roll a d6, add that to the strength of the weapon. So like las weaponry couldn't ever hurt
a tank. But like I remember the back armor of a Rhino was like 10, so on a 6 you could glance it with a strength 4 weapon like a bolter. It was a lot.
Yeah, I mean that's what it came down to. And then there was stuff like that's like when the monolith was still kind of good because it was 14 armor all the way around. So even on like strength 9 weapon, which is pretty much the most powerful weapon in most armies, even with the strength 9 weapon, you still have to roll a 6 for a penetrating and a 5 for a glance. The only problem is the way the system worked was one penetrating blow and you roll the right dice and all of a sudden it's dead.
Nice. That's what I like to hear.
Yeah.
Hopes and dreams crushed.
You could literally like one shot a Land Raider off the table. And it was kind of really disheartening when you're like, back when Land Raiders were good in like 7th edition, you're just like, yes, my Land Raider, and then someone rolls the right roll and it's like, oh well,
yeah. And and like on the other side you have 8th edition where you have your awesome, really cool Imperial Knight. This is before Imperial Knights Codex and all that. You have this really cool model and you're having a lot of fun with it, and then it gets killed by 30 boys. They just walk up and they smack it to death.
Good times.
Or, you're just using your dude and then 50 dudes deep strike with plasma guns and instantly kill it. Back when you could deep strike on turn 1 before your opponent got a turn.
Scions.
Yeah. You have these Tau dudes that can move 48 inches in a turn with 3 ion blasters each, firing 3d3 times each into it. It's just like they're very different things. Both probably feel equally bad, I'd assume, right? Like one unlucky hit versus, 1/3 of this model's points killing it with ease, even though they shouldn't be able to even ding it.
Honestly,
I agree and disagree. I mean, they're both. I mean, that is right. You're right for that. But in 8th edition, a lot of the times, it almost feels right. Like, if you want to kill a knight, or if you want to kill a Land Raider in one turn, the Land Raider has what, 16 wounds?
I believe it's 14.
Yeah. I
might be mistaken. I literally, last time I ran one was my 5th game of,
Yeah. So
I don't even own one anymore.
In my absolute wildest dreams, it would still take me 3 shots of a las cannon to kill a Land Raider. Whereas, which it feels right. Or if a Lehman Russ shot at it, I would need at least 2 Lehman Rush shooting at the Land Raider to potentially kill it. But in
one Lehman.
previous editions, it was just like, oh, I got my one extra las cannon I happened to throw with my tac squad. They moved. He hit on a 4, and then he just popped my Land Raider in one shot. And this is like, oh, well, that happened. Just as an afterthought, like, oh, let me just shoot this there, and then dead. It always made you feel like just really bad on the inside when that happened.
And I'll have to take your word for that because I wouldn't know.
Yeah, but no, I understand. I mean, the fact that they made it so, in perfect scenario, your 200 guardsmen could laser a knight off the table. For sure. That definitely could happen, which probably doesn't make anyone feel good that laser pointers took out this like walking god level machine.
Yeah.
I mean, that's cool and all, but 9th edition, do you think that tanks will feel bad to bring?
No. I mean, they're telling you that it's not going to feel bad to bring tanks, which either means tanks are going to be really good and they're going to put some kind of limitation on them, or they have way, way too many predators in stock back from when you were allowed to use kill shot and they really need to get them sold, so they're building up hype preemptively.
That's a good way to put it. But they're probably $20 right now says that all tanks are across the board are going to go up in points. I can almost guarantee you that. Yeah.
Okay, I'll take that.
I'll take that.
You don't think the point cost on a Lehman Russ isn't going to go up?
I don't think it will get more expensive.
Points
They
cost?
need to sell more Lehman Russes.
Not money.
They need to sell more Lehman
So-
Russes.
Yeah, no.
Oh yeah, point. Yeah,
I think points wise.
The points on a Lehman Russ have not changed in so long. The closest thing to a change they got is they increased some of the weapon options, like the points for like certain weapons, like the Punisher cannon and stuff like that. But they also at the same time decreased the point cost of las cannons, which
ended
kind of
them
offset
up
that.
at literally like the exact same points cost, give or take like 5 points or something. It was silly. Like, I don't think there will be an actual points cost like change that like has any impact on the game to Lehman Russes, especially with how you're you're going to be changing how you change lists, like how you make lists rather.
Yeah, so GW, like, while obviously the Golden Children are Space Marines, GW really, really also likes Imperial Guard.
Yeah, they do.
That's why there is so many and so much in the option for Imperial Guard. Obviously, everybody knows that there is more options for Imperial Guard than any other army.
There are more Lehman Russ variants that you can take as a guard player than units Matt can run as a Harlequin player.
Oh, well, of course, yeah. But I mean, there's like almost as many Lehman Russ variants, including Forge World, as there are a lot of army choices.
It's ridiculous.
The only armies that even rival Imperial Guard in any way, shape, or form are like obviously Space Marines, Chaos Space Marines,
the original 3. Those Space Marines, Orcs, and
maybe
Eldar would
Chaos
probably be the only
Demons,
3.
if you're looking at like all of them together.
I honestly wouldn't even say Eldar. Eldar don't have that many choices.
Also, Eldar have been getting pruned.
They only have 3 troop choices.
Can you really count like Storm Guardians as a choice?
Oh, I didn't even think about them. So yeah, maybe 4. I was thinking Guardians, Rangers, and Dire Avengers. And then, Storm Guardians are technically.
I forgot about Rangers.
They're just Guardians. Yeah, Rangers. Everybody, I still think that Rangers should probably be not a troop choice, but that's an unpopular opinion.
Snipers as a troop choice is always kind of funny. But the last time I heard of someone playing Rangers, they changed to Eldar Flyers. So, I have no clue.
Yeah, last time I saw somebody play with Rangers, just solely Rangers, they got bootsed. Sorry, Tanner, if you listen to this.
Rest in peace. This is the world's smallest violin playing for you.
Changing to another point that we know of. What do you guys think about the ability to be able to put in multiple units in deep strike, or not deep strike, but reserves?
Well, I know that it's going to cost CP, and depending on game level, CP might be limited. But I think that that's good. I think it was kind of weird that some armies could do it and other armies couldn't.
Yeah.
Like, especially like just even in the same faction. So like Grey Knights, I think Grey Knights and Death Watch, and I think that's it, had access to the teleportarium or whatever. But nobody else did. Even though technically, like, doesn't every ship have a teleportarium?
A lot of Space Marine ships. Like the higher end ones definitely do, like strike cruisers and battle barges and stuff like that.
So yeah, it just, to me, it always seemed weird that you could with certain armies, but you couldn't with other. So yeah, that was my personal opinion on that, though. Again, an unpopular opinion.
No, I don't think so. I think it adds to how an army would genuinely play. I mean, how many times or in an actual battle would an actual commander have the entire thing just lying out right in front of the enemy and just be like, all right, I'm throwing everything at you, kind of thing. So I like the idea of being able to put things in deep strike, or not even deep strike, but just like in reserves. Yeah.
But I mean, like as a Space Wolf player, you don't have that option currently. Like, imagine having your Wolfen Dreadnoughts in Deep Strike. How much better that would be than just saying, "Oh, hey, I'm going to walk 8 inches across the board, maybe advance another 6 if I'm lucky."
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Just pray that you make it across
before turn 5.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Before turn 3, as we found out. In our battle report, that Space Wolves on turn 3 are actually pretty
on that
good.
note, go check out our battle report at youtube.com/tabletopshenanigans.
Well, it's not up yet.
We're getting there.
It'll be up by the time this is up.
Yeah, it'll be up by the time somebody bothers to look at this.
So that brings up another question for me, though. You're saying that it costs CP to put stuff in deep strike, which is
100%.
cool, but the problem is there are some armies out there that are super CP hungry. How does this affect them? They
don't put things in deep strike.
Whether they, that's kind of messed up.
Also think about it like this: maybe it doesn't cost CP, and it's just like both armies are afforded a certain number of things they can put in reserve based on like the game. So they just like separate it from CP, and CP purely becomes about things that you do in the command phase, and like.
No,
like for all I know.
What was this gonna say?
Oh, they did officially announce that? Okay, I must have missed that announcement.
Yeah, that was a part of the rules.
Sick.
Reserves cost CP. However, I think like things that already have the ability to deep strike, like things with jump packs or Terminators or things that already have that rule, will keep it. It'll be like, if I want to put a Dreadnought in Deep Strike, I can do that now instead of having to go to Forge World and buy a Dreadnought drop pod. So I think that's something that they're adding. It's not necessarily that they're taking away the ability from models that already have it. They're just adding it to additional models on the table, like stuff that armies like orcs and stuff already have.
The thing though is that there's also going to be a big asterisk, because there is a difference between being able to deep strike and being able to outflank. Like, I mean, Space Wolves have a stratagem to like outflank where I can put anything in technically like flanking maneuver, but it has to be 6 inches away from the board edge. However, Terminators, I can put them anywhere that I want to as long as it's 9 inches away from enemy models. That's also a big difference.
Yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait for the rules to see exactly what it says on that. I just know that it's gonna be kind of an open-ended thing, and like anybody can use it. I think it's gonna be like one of the general ones, and then also it costs CP. That's the extent of my knowledge. Sorry.
So let's change tracks from talking about rules and such to let's start speculating about this box and Necrons and more Space Marines because we don't have enough Space Marines, obviously.
Mhm.
Any thoughts on that new box that totally isn't happening, that GW hasn't totally talked about yet?
I need 2 boxes for myself. Of the whole set. The whole set. That, oh man, that box looks so good. And I don't care. The new Necron models are pretty cool. And those new Space Marine models are super cool too. And I'm really excited. I'm a little miffed it's Space Marines again, who just got so many new models. But I'm still happy to see Necrons finally get new models again. It's gonna be real nice.
I agree. That's all I have to say on that. I agree. That's it.
I think this is the only thing we all universally agree on.
Well,
This is a good
actually,
box.
put an asterisk to that because Felipe has some problems with the box. Okay, so my main beef with this is that I want them to make the Assault Primaris different. They need to have something more to them because, as our boy Phil pointed out in an earlier discussion, those guys don't have jetpacks. So what makes them any better? Yeah, I get it. An extra wound, an extra attack, and so on and so forth. But so far, you're basically just... Reavers are the exact same thing, and we all know how good Reavers are. Put a big asterisk to that. That's sarcasm. So I want Assault Marines to have something new. There's rumors that, yeah, the Primaris chainswords are going to be better,
it won't
but
be
I want them
the
to actually
rumor is
have
anything
a
with
reason.
starters, not just Primaris. So like even your regular tactical Marines, or now just like your regular Death Company.
Tactical Marines.
Could you imagine though, like your Death Company having all those chainsword attacks, like 5 or 6 on the charge, and then they're AP -1 now?
Yeah, I mean,
that
it would be nice for them to have actually
more. Hey, the more you put in, the better that looks, right?
Yeah, it just all sounds good to me. But anyways, continue, Felipe. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good.
There's something I wanted to mention about the box set, actually. It's something I spoke to Alex about. May he stay in our prayers forever.
Yeah, rest in peace, bro. Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace, rest in peace. Something that, I was talking to him about. He really, really wanted melee Primaris, and I was like, just buy aggressors, buy aggressors. Obviously, I was just, saying that to make him angry, because aggressors really... They're technically melee units, but like functionally, you don't use them for melee. That's just another upside down.
Talking about melee Primaris?
And I'm looking at the
just buy aggressors.
Yeah, exactly, just buy aggressors. The Storm Shield sword guys. I was talking to him about Black Templars getting melee Primaris, and how that'd be like a massive thing that would really help with them, because a big problem with Space Marines in general, funnily for how he plays them, is they just like can't live. Like his units all die, and it's like, do you want to run like Storm Shield, Thunderhammer, Assault Terminators? No, you don't.
Gross. Yeah,
you don't,
thanks.
because they got cheaper, but they're still not that good in most armies. But looking at these 2 wound, probably toughness for... They're probably 2 wounds. They could be 3 wounds, but these 2 wound, probably toughness 4, probably 3 up in Vaughn, 3 up save, maybe 2 up save. Melee Primaris units, I think those are going to be really big for supporting a playstyle that can really make it to assault phase and really benefit from that.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see those. I really hope that they get the option to switch out their weapons. I really hope we can get some Thunderhammer troops or like, I don't know, Claw Shield. I know it's speculating a lot. Even if they were elite choices, I think they'd still be pretty good.
And
I'll say right now, I think that the Intercessor Assault guys are going to be a troop slot choice. And I think that's what's going to really put them over the top as a really awesome model altogether.
Yeah.
Well, we still don't know the function of troops, so I wouldn't say that quite yet.
I don't know.
Honestly, I'm just excited. The Judicator looks really cool. Yeah. I love that model. That model looks sweet.
Looks like he's ready to crush.
Right. Now, next thing's next. If we can get Primaris Terminators. Imagine.
Just buy aggressors. Just buy aggressors.
Oh yeah, my bad.
I mean, that's really what aggressors are.
Yeah.
I mean,
They're just better in every way.
That's what they're really pushing for.
+5, 3 attacks base. They're literally just better Terminators in every way.
Yeah, they have like almost the exact same weapons as Terminators. They have Power Fist and Super Star Bolters. Yeah, they are Terminators.
They're functionally better base Terminators. They're not better assault Terminators, but also they're toughness 5 and have an extra wound. And as a person who has played against Custodes, the difference between 2 wounds and 3 wounds is so ridiculously massive.
And the difference between T4 and T5 is huge.
Yeah, that I can't even quantify how much
better. 3 up
better
and a 2 up.
it is. Like you couldn't be caught dead moving Terminators up the board. You just couldn't do that. Like even if they could advance and move without penalty, you just couldn't do it. But aggressors, that's their entire purpose. You just walk them up the board until you get them in a good spot, and you gun down anything that comes within their kill range.
Whoa there, killer.
They're just functional. They just feel a better function, especially with how, all the changes to Deep Strike and not being able to drop Terminators turn 1 before your opponent gets a turn and ruining their day. Something screen better or whatever.
Something
I remember that conversation.
Screen better.
Yeah, that was a fun conversation for everyone involved, I'm sure.
Just screen better.
What y'all talking about?
The one where we all yelled at you for like half an hour about how you just need to screen better.
We basically were delegitimizing all your complaints about AdMech and all that.
Nice.
Just
Phoenix,
regular stuff.
I'll tip you something if you just put in something in here about how I just screamed at Nick to just screen better. Just do it for me, please.
Can you just play like the world's saddest violin for me and Tanner?
So I think we need to talk too about the Necron side. What do we know about the Necron side so far?
The Silent King is back, baby!
All hail the Silent King who has returned to take back over the galaxy.
Yep. The Necrons are playing on New Game Plus, and now they're really putting in those hacks to do better, if you catch my drift.
So prior to this, what were the Necrons really missing, and do you think that what the box is adding is going to fix that?
So they've already told us that those new walker things are a type of destroyer. So where you currently have destroyers and heavy destroyers is like a shooting option, you now have these new destroyers that have these super awesome weapons. I believe that they are strength +2, -4, flat 3 damage with these what do they call them? Eviscerators or something like that.
Yeah. What I'm a little bit confused about though is honestly I don't understand why they look so much different from regular destroyers. And I don't like how they look different from regular destroyers.
I think they look dope compared to the destroyer. I've never actually really liked the destroyer model, and I think these feel more like a menacing robotic monster than these like upper torsos that are on bugs, carapaces.
So
I like the new ones. I just wish they would update the old ones to look like this.
Let's talk about speculating. It could just be that they make a new destroyer kit.
Yeah, the destroyer kit is super out of date. Actually,
that could just be what it is.
I just got 12.
Yeah, if you've noticed, what they've done is they've gotten rid of the green rods, and currently the current destroyers have green rods. So it's very likely that destroyers are getting a new model. If not at release, it will be soon. They did show like this super fat looking floating thing with a big gun. Like it was massive, and those may be the new destroyers, and they may be like these like I think they were on like the 50 millimeter bases, like a Redemptor Dreadnought size, and that may be what a destroyer is.
I'm really excited. Oh man, I'm really excited from the Necron release. Are those Wall of the War type walkers? Those look amazing.
I personally didn't like those because they were just like these big stringy things with a.
All right. Redact this man.
They were
from
like
the
these
podcast.
big, like stringy legs, and then it just had like a canoptic spider on the top of it, and it looked kind of funky to me. I mean, obviously that's just a picture. I haven't seen it up close. There was a couple of things that I didn't like until I saw it up close. So I mean, it's possible that could be the case, but just from the pictures I saw, it basically just looks like a canoptic spider with long legs.
With long boy legs.
Yeah, like Slender Man.
Do you think the rule of 3? Do you think the rule of 3 is going to go away?
No,
because I have 30. I have 30 canoptic braids.
God,
I don't need
that
30.
is staying for
I really
sure.
don't think they're going to get rid of that because, controversial opinion, guys. I think not using 18 of the same unit is more fun and more healthy for the game. I think not letting people abuse one thing that GW made stronger than it really needed to be might be good for the game.
I agree.
Oh, you
Crazy.
mean that going
Alright,
up against like 17 freaking Leviathan Dreadnoughts or like 300 Lehman Russes is not fun? What are you talking about? That sounds really fun.
You can still go up against 300 Lehman Russes because of the number of variants there are. But
Yeah, he's not wrong.
Actually, you
Oh,
can't.
yeah. Actually, yeah. I
You can't.
forget
I
that.
think I did the
I don't
math
think you can do
before, but like with the different variations counting Forge World, you could get away with running easily like over like 2 or 3 dozen Lehman Russes, like with Rule of 3 and intact, and tank commanders and all that.
I was gonna say I could bring 13 Lehman Russes, not Forge World, before you start adding in Forge World variants because the names are different.
Yeah.
But yeah. So because you can bring 9 just regular, like as 3 heavy detachments, 3 tank commanders, and pass. So that gets you 13. Before you start adding in Forge World options.
That's 12.
I wonder if New Warriors are going to be any
And
good.
pass, that gets you up
that's
there.
the 13.
Yeah, that gets you to the 13. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did math. I can math.
I wonder if the
sometimes.
New Warriors.
No, I
wonder if the New Warriors are
going
going to be good. God.
Oh, I
hate
You
always
guys are
have
being
math.
so mean to Nick.
Wait, what are you saying now, Nick? I didn't hear you.
I'm wondering.
So what do you guys think about the...
Bring on Nick again.
Go ahead, Nick. I'm
Listen.
sorry.
All right. So,
Listen. I'm wondering if the New Warriors are going to be good.
It's gonna be.
They're warriors,
dog.
I think they're going to be exact same. They just got a new body. They haven't mentioned anything. Oh wait, never mind. That's right. They changed. There's 2 weapon variants now for the warriors. Just
Oh,
like
they gonna
there's-
get Tesla guns?
Which I'm really happy
There's
about.
there's
Tesla
the
guns?
regular weapon. It's not Tesla. They're both Gauze.
And
One's
then,
just like a close range, stronger one. So you're gonna have like your standard rapid fire
Yeah.
AP -1. And you're gonna probably have one that's like 12 inches.
Assault 1 or something?
AP -2 or something like that.
What I'm really excited for is the fact that I have, even though I have an entire Necron army, I have 0 warriors put together. I have no warrior sprues ever at all in my
That's
house.
weird.
So, yeah, I only
That's 'cause
play
he was
with
borrowing
immortals.
mine.
No. I have some warriors that I traded for immortals just because immortals are just way better. So I'm really excited that all the new Necron stuff is stuff that I don't own yet, or
as
stuff
somebody that actually
yeah.
plays Necrons, I think Warriors
I played Necrons.
are definitely the better option than Immortals, without a shadow of a doubt.
I don't know.
Simply because
I like immortals though; they're good.
with the Ghost Arc, you get a free reanimation on top of your regular reanimation, only for Warriors, and you can bring them in blobs of 20, make them fearless, and give them bonuses to the reanimation.
Cryptex.
Yeah, Cryptex.
Yeah.
Yeah, all kinds of good stuff.
You just have a mortal blob.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, the warriors are more immortal than the immortals. But
So yeah, when you get to having 20 guys at rapid fire range, so 40 shots at they're basically bolters with AP -1. So I mean they can hurt stuff when they shoot at it. Plus with My Will Be Done, hit on 2s. It's pretty good.
You really don't like those walkers? I really like those walkers.
I haven't seen it
the
in
World
person,
War
but
type
from
ones.
the picture I saw, I wasn't impressed.
I think it's probably part of it, you know, it seems it looks a little bit off type for Necrons, just like a little bit. Like in a vacuum, it seems cool, but like in the context of like the rest of your Necron units, I think it might look a little bit too off from like the rest of the aesthetic.
Yeah, just like as of right now, I don't think it matches anything else. The closest thing that reminds me of is the Triox Starker and the big Forge World one.
And when's the last time you seen a Triox Starker? Like
in the store or in play?
In play, yeah. No, you see them in the store because they were in the old Start Collecting, right? Before they made the new, ridiculously good Start Collecting.
Yeah.
Like the Necrons new Start Collecting, new as in like, you know, not the old one, because not new anymore, right? But I think it's still to this day, maybe I'm wrong and I'm not up to date on Start Collectings, but still like the highest value Start Collecting. Necrons? I think so, the new one, right? Or am I crazy?
With the Catacomb Barrage, 10 Warriors, 5 Immortals. It's not Cryptic, it's an Overlord.
An Overlord, which can also be like a Destroyer Lord, and like you get destroyed. Like it was a lot.
Technically, you get 2 Lords. You get one for the command Catacomb Barge.
Yeah, and the Catacomb Barge can also be like a different thing that isn't a Catacomb Command Barge.
Yeah, it can be the Annihilation Barge.
Yeah, it's so much stuff. And so many like different options. And then you have like Start Collecting Space Marines.
It's a joke,
good times.
right?
Yes, it's
sure.
a joke.
So talking about things that talking about things that we like and what we don't like. So I got a question for you, gentlemen, and we'll start off with Maddie, just because I like to keep the list the same. Maddie,
because
what would you like out of 9th edition? What's at the very top of your wish list?
I don't know.
Did I put you on a spot there, Matt?
I said I passed.
Matthew?
Yeah,
you passing? You can't pass.
Come back to him after.
Okay.
All right, ask me.
Okay. Phil, what do you want out of 9th edition?
Ask me.
What do I want out of 9th edition? GW kind of has a thing that they do that sort of like soft locks you out of playing a lot of units. Not because like, you know, they take them out of the game like with Legends, but they're so ludicrously terrible that like if you're a person that cares about winning, which is, you know, most people who play a game where the objective is to win, you just like can't fathom a reason to run them. Like Tactical Marines used to be 13 points per model and literally unrunnable. And now that they're like 11 points per model, they're still unrunnable, right? And things like I really want like the options back where like not everything is like, you know, the optimal choice, but you aren't stuck in a position where some things are so like overtuned that you don't run like anything else.
I agree with that. That's a good idea.
Okay, I get you. Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, Nick, what do you want?
Also, you know, scout snipers definitely are like another big thing. Go ahead.
No, I said pass. I said what I said. Go ahead, Matt.
Wow, throwing full circle again. Well, okay. I gave it a little more thought, and I would like to see just like more expansion upon factions. I think that they should spend I like what they're doing now, but I think that they should spend less time giving us new rules all the time and more time either giving us completely new models and or revamping old models. Like they have so many models that need to be updated that it's ridiculous. Like when's the last time?
You mean like 90% of the Eldar line, basically?
When's the last time that orcs got an update?
very recently.
Literally,
What?
yeah, I'm about to say
They got big
they got
boy.
new planes.
No, I'm talking about like an orc, an orc boy.
Yeah.
When's the last time an orc boy?
The Orc Boy got updated last
No.
edition, like 7th or 6th.
I
It was
think it was
very
6th.
recent compared to some
That's
lines.
like
Because they look
8
really
years
bad.
ago.
Bro, have you seen
Like
half of
but I'm
everyone
saying, but,
else's
like,
line?
orcs are so
from, like,
small right now, and they're supposed to be like these big monsters, and they're like the size.
That's because they're
like
hunched.
Yeah,
That's because they're all. That's all twerking.
they got
like, calm down, it's
Doofenshmirtz
fine.
syndrome. You know.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying that they need to cross the Primaris line and scale up. They need to be bigger. They're not intimidating right now.
That'd be kind of cool. That would be kind of cool having orcs
Yeah,
that are bigger.
That would be dope, and we all know it. Not just knobs.
Bigger.
No,
your
there are
regular guy
definitely-
should be knob sized.
Yeah, I definitely think bigger knobs for all my boys.
Yes.
I think knobs should be boys and
But-
boys should be old Graskell size.
There's so much stuff that you could do. They could focus on making. I mean, just something as simple as releasing shoulder pauldrons, not just for your standard Codex Marines and supplement books that you already have, but I mean, they could go beyond and start making like Minotaurs and Red Scorpions, not Forge World versions, but like regular ones that you could just buy at your local GW for all these other factions. That'd be something so simple, because there's those little like half sprues, and they would sell dozens of them because people love that. They already like having the arm with the raised pauldron on it and stuff like that. I think that would be a huge thing that GW could do, and just expand. Yeah.
Counterpoint. Just play Ultramarines.
Well, I agree with you 100%. But
Counterpoint. We go back to Rogue Trader models.
Ooh, I think we should end the podcast
God,
there,
no.
right, guys? I think that's all the time we have for
I
today.
mean, basically. I mean, you kind of hit it right on the nail. I want more. I don't even want more models. I just want updates to models. There's so many resin Space Marine characters that I would love to be in plastic. Like, there are so many Space Wolf characters that I want in plastic. There are so many other, like the entire Eldar line is just in such a crappy status right now. It's kind of embarrassing.
Hey, man, be careful what you wish for, because they did that to Kosara Khan, and now he'll never have a bike.
Oh no, don't get me wrong. I hate the entire Eldar line, but at the same time, I would like to see newer looking things. I mean, there are still things that are only available in metal. Let's be honest, that's kind of bad.
Yeah.
Okay, Nick, what about you? What do you want?
More AdMech. No, I'm kidding. It'd be nice to see. I don't know. I low key just kind of wanted a new faction. That'd be kind of sweet, but I mean, that's just unreasonable right now. I don't even know what they would add.
I'll throw one at you that will solve both of your problem and my problem. Plastic Krieg. That's my
I wouldn't
wish.
solve my problem. I already have the Krieg
Yeah,
models.
he's already
I've
done
already
the millions that it takes.
Yeah, basically. He took out a third mortgage just for a Krieg army.
Right. I'd decide whether paying for my kids' college or going to buying Krieg army. You know, I chose right. No kidding.
You mean paying for your kids' college,
But no.
or getting the brand new Forge World Krieg, but they're walking.
Yeah, but they're holding their gun menacingly.
Or they're standing around lounging.
Good lord.
Best army, best guard. So what does the Krieg get? Oh, you know, we have a 3 up to hit in combat. That's nice. Are they strength 4? No. All right. Cool. Imagine hitting on 3s but still wounding on 5s. Ouch.
Okay, I guess we got a little bit of time to talk about AdMech. Go ahead, Nick.
Oh, I'm just excited for it. I'm really excited for the plays.
And
those
that's all the
servers.
time that we
Yeah,
have for
all right.
tonight. Thank you so much for everybody for joining us. Thank you all for joining us tonight and do what no other 40K channel is doing right now and talking about 9th edition. Nobody but us is actually doing that right now.
I just can't eat those words.
I know.
Don't
Yeah.
fact check us.
If they are,
do not do it. Just remember, the Inquisition
We will
is
call the
watching.
Inquisition on you. Yes.
Please be sure to check out our Patreon and join our Discord at the Tabletop Shenanigans. And I hope everybody's staying safe out there, and hopefully Nurgle's hugs will eventually go away. And signing off.
This is Matthew.
It's Nicholas.
Man, I think there was supposed to be a guy going before me or something, but this is Philip.
Yeah. Long live
Rest in
Alex.
peace, bro.
And Felipe.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Alex.
Rest in pepperoni, my man.
All right. Good night, everybody. Bye.